Hi and welcome back to another video this week. So today we are going to be designing a brand new shirt that I put on my Etsy shop. So if you like the design, the link is down below. It's currently available with a t-shirt and tank top design. I absolutely love them. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so for this design, it was inspired by a pretty famous song back in the 90s. I'm sure everyone has heard it, but it's Apple Bottom Jeans by Flo Rida. And for the longest time, I honestly thought that he was saying bones and fur, not boots and the fur. And so that's kind of what inspired this drawing here. And I wanted to video it, or I guess record it, video it. I wanted to record it so you guys can see a better idea of what my drawing process is and how I make my t-shirts rather than the quick 1-minute videos that I post on my TikTok. So while we're looking at this, I do want to talk a little bit about what I'm drawing, but also my future plans for the channel. As you can see, I made a few more changes once again because I had such a hard time determining what it is that I'm really going to be doing here. All I know is that I want to make YouTube videos. So this is something that I've really been spending a lot of time with, and it really struck me when I was drawing this picture that a lot of my artwork is very Halloween themed, or I guess spooky themed, as you can see. And naturally, that is because Halloween is my favorite holiday in the entire world. And this last year was a really frustrating holiday for me because I waited until August to purchase my Halloween decorations and so on. And by that time, everything was sold out. I completely missed the brand new Halloween community that we have here on YouTube, which is amazing, but they all start in June and they kind of beat me to it. So this year, I definitely want to join, and I've already been looking out for some Halloween decorations. I've been to At Home, I visited Joann's, and I really want to go to Bath and Body Works next week because last year I completely missed it. By the time I went to Bath and Body Works in August, Halloween was completely sold out and all they had was Christmas. It was very upsetting. So, to segue that into what we're going to be talking about today, this is now going to become a Halloween channel. But before I get to any of that, I want to talk about what I'm sketching here. So, Bones and the Fur always, of course, naturally, reminded me of witches. And with that, she couldn't just have apple bottom jeans because a witch doesn't live a regular life like that, right? So they're poison apple jeans. And so what I'm drawing here is poison apple jeans, Bones and the Fur. All the coven is looking at her. Oh my god, I died over this picture. I just loved it so much and I had so much fun creating it. It was right up my alley. It had witches, it had spooky, it was punny. I'm going to tell you, puns are my favorite thing ever. I know a lot of people hate them, but you know what? You just got to get that stick out of your butt because they are fun. Puns are fun. And so that's what inspired this was mainly, well, a misunderstanding, but it also became more of a pun at the same time. So I drew her here with the classic back view so that you can see the poison apples on her jeans, which I think look fantastic. They're very Disney-esque. I actually looked up the poison apples from a lot of the Disney Halloween stuff, and that's where I got the inspiration for these. But again, I love it. I think it looks great. And I just have her sitting on her broomsticks. I wanted to give her the same kind of attitude that it shows in the song, where like she knows she's cool, she knows everyone's looking at her, and she knows she's the center of attention. And then I also thought it would be really fun to draw out this cauldron bag, which I've seen been sold by a lot of stores, and it's filled with bones. And then she has these boots that you can't really see, but the fur is kind of sticking out on the side, and that definitely gives the boots segue, but also the fur. Yep, that's, I know, it's cheesy, but that's how I threw it in there. And then naturally, she'd have to have a witch's hat, and I wanted her hair to have a specific glamorous look to it, so I went for a more vintage vibe here, but it's kind of braided at the same time. So it's like a big voluminous braid flowing in the wind. She's holding her hat on because she's flying on this awesome broom. And yeah, I just thought it was a really great picture. I gave her a crop top, as you can see here, and it's ruffling, and she's got like puffy sleeves, and oh my goodness, I just loved this picture. But you will see I also flip it around a few times because I actually really struggled with the broomstick. I had a really hard time with the angle of it. I was having a hard time making it look right. But don't worry, I got it taken care of. But while I'm doing the line art here and messing with her mouth, because I also had a really hard time with lips, go ahead and like this video if you relate. Sometimes faces are just super, super hard. So while I'm going over the sketch again to fix the lips and a few other little things that need to be done before line art can go in, I want to go back to talking about my channel. What it is exactly that's going on here and why I've been jumping around. I have those old videos from my beauty guru days, and let's forget those existed. And also, like, I have videos about how I run my Etsy shop. I have kind of some videos about my artwork. I did a couple Zen Pop boxes. I am no longer going to be doing those boxes. One, they're really expensive, and they take forever to get here, and they're always super cutesy. And as you can see with this picture in particular, it's not really my style. So I have a really hard time drawing anything with the boxes because of how cutesy they are, which is great, fantastic. I actually give a lot of the supplies to my sister because she loves that style. That is her thing. That's not my thing, unfortunately. And as you can tell, I did get a new intro, and it looks very spooky. So that's what I'm getting into. Very long. Okay, long story short. Oh my God, focus. I am transitioning this over to more of a spooky channel. And if that's something that you're into, awesome, great. I would love to have you around. If not, I mean, you could still stay. You could watch me draw pretty pictures because that's fun too. Story short, my channel isn't going to just be about my artwork because as much as I love my art, I am definitely a lot more active and I don't just draw all the time. And I want to share everything with you guys, not just this one particular niche, I guess is what people would call it. But I am kind of niching it anyways. Niching, is that a word? Can we use it? It's a word. So I am niching it anyways. So not only will it be art that I'm working on, which, side note, I'm working on a pretty cool collab with Midge Munster, one of the best vintage Halloween shoppers I've ever seen. She's super cute. She is glowing right now. So I will link her channel down below. We are working on a brand new Halloween t-shirt. So I should have some screen recordings of that once it gets released, and I'll talk about that later. But a lot of my artwork is spooky, and I'm going to focus on that. I'm really going to go all out for that. And we're going to do some spooky artwork here, but we're also going to do some spooky holiday stuff too. So we'll come back to that. But here in my picture, I know this keeps going back and forth, but bear with me. I'm actually just doing the line art. And I actually like to do line art with a really dark color because it just makes the picture look more dynamic, fresher, cooler when you use a different color than black. That's all I wanted to say. So while I'm finishing up this line art here, we'll talk about my future plans for the channel. I did kind of a little bit, shouldn't have, but I did it. I splurged on some spooky summer clothing because it's really hard to dress for the summer when you're a spooky girl. And I will be sharing that in a haul coming up. I have some cute stuff that I'm very excited to wear this summer, even though summer is kind of halfway over, but we won't talk about that. It will help hold me on to life until spooky season officially hits. But I also have some vlogs of me shopping and trying to find spooky decorations. Those will be coming as well, and more spooky art will be coming because Halloween does not only rule my life, but it also rules my artwork. And that sentence could not be more true. So that is what's happening with my channel. We're going to keep the name Ancora Rose because that is what I go by on my social media, but I will be doing a little bit of branding. Now, you're probably freaking out about right now, especially if you're a TikTok follower, about my Oracle deck. Hold up, calm down, it will be okay. Keep your pumpkins on. I will still be doing those goddesses, and they are actually supposed to be released in August. I'm super close to it being done. I'm about to send them to the printer, and I'm super excited. So, my goddesses do still follow under the spooky realm because, after all, they are shadow goddesses. So those are still going to be going on. I will actually be making one big video with all of the goddesses in it where I talk more about the project and I give more details and information. But it is an oracle deck, specifically animal, that I am creating to help out fellow witches or even people in general with shadow work. Because I feel like shadow work has such a negative connotation that it really shouldn't have, because it is about self-healing and learning more about every nook and cranny of your subconscious, and it should be positive because after all, if you didn't experience what you did in your life, let's be honest, you would not be the same person. Like, you really would not be the same person. So even though your childhood may be traumatic, I would still be grateful for it because it developed the personality that you have today, and there is a lot of people around you that love you because of that personality. So that is a deck that helps with that area. It helps with shadow work, goddesses to guide you along the way, and I did hand draw all 42 of them, and I wrote the book that went along with it. But I won't get into that too much because that will be a future video coming up. But since the spooky season is coming, it's definitely going to be focused more on spooky artwork, just like this t-shirt design that I am doing here. It probably won't be a whole lot of pumpkins because when I think of Halloween, I think more witch. I think more bones. Yes, I like gnomes. I know a lot of people don't. Again, I don't know why. They're pretty cute. I mean, they've got giant hats and little beards. Like, I don't know why people don't like them. Maybe it has something to do with their subconscious and they should work on their shadow work. Oracle deck to come soon. Right? Self-promotion. But anyways, before I get too off track, because I do that a lot, this is now going to become a spooky channel, which is what I'm trying to get to. And I think it will be a lot better. Actually, I know it will be a lot better because Halloween is something that I have loved my entire life. From the moment that I could pick my own Halloween costume, it has been my favorite thing ever. And I just love everything about the entire season. And to start the Halloween season here in June is amazing. It's fantastic. And if I can live it longer, live it all year, then I am definitely going to do that. So I will be doing spooky artwork. I will be doing spooky hauls, spooky vlogs. And since it's something that's more in my area, I know, I'm going to say I think, but I know that it will help me get on a better schedule because it's something that I'm going to look forward to. I think my biggest problem before it was I kept trying to push out these videos that I didn't really care about a whole lot. They were videos based on my Etsy shop, which is great. I love running my shop, but it's hard for me to share the information because I do everything by myself. And it's honestly not hard. Like, I literally print my pictures on photo paper with a printer that I happen to get used off of Facebook. And I just don't have a lot of information to share with that. And I print it straight off my iPad. My iPad makes it really easy to do that. And so I just don't have a lot of information there. I may share some stuff on my Etsy shop in the future, but is not going to be my main focus. And as well as the Zen Pops, I mentioned that I won't be doing those anymore because it just wasn't my niche. I really hate that word, but it just wasn't my thing. And so I've discontinued those. I won't be doing those anymore. I am sorry if you enjoyed them, but I do hope that you stick around for the spooky artwork. And it's going to be more themed to witches. I will do a couple pumpkins in there. I've got a few pictures that I want to do digitally that I drew last year for Halloween, so I'll definitely be doing those. I've got a undead mermaid with some pumpkins. I'm so excited about that. And then I will also be posting a video about Midge's t-shirt designs. We're actually doing 2 of them for her, and I'm super excited. And you guys really need to check her out. Seriously, like, she's amazing. So I only hope to be as great as those before me with the spooky endeavors, but I do want to share my artwork along with my hobbies. So that's what it's going to be here. We're still going to be Encore Rose because that is my name on the internet. And it will be super, super fun. I'm really excited. I think this was a good plan, and I think we are going to go far now that I have opened up and I'm okay with admitting this. It was really hard for me to admit that I really like Halloween before because I grew up in a very religious household and Halloween was frowned upon, especially skulls and skeletons, and they just didn't like anything that wasn't completely living and super cute. So, but as I'm saying this, as I'm talking about it, I'm getting really excited. I know this is the right path, and I know it's going to be really good for the channel, and I just hope that you guys will stick around and join me for the journey. I also have a TikTok and an Instagram that I'm very active on, especially Instagram. So if you want all the right as I find them updates on where to find spooky endeavors, that will definitely be on my Instagram. So I would definitely take a look there. Everything will be linked below in my link tree. So now that we've figured out what's going on with my channel, let's get back to this glorious picture that we haven't talked about yet, because I'm obviously putting some color in and I really need to explain that. Do I? Maybe. Yeah, I should. Okay, so back to my artwork now that we've been distracted long enough for me to get to the interesting part of it, because let's be honest, sketching the line art line art is actually super boring, even coming from an artist. But what I'm doing here, this looks really messy, I know, but I'm just testing out colors. And I do this all on the same layer so that I can decide what I want the colors to be, and then I can turn that layer on and off as a color pick from the palette that I have chosen and color everything in a little more professionally. So you can see here I am just turning that layer off, and then I will turn it back on so that I can see the colors that I chose and exactly where I wanted them. It does look super messy, but it is something that I enjoy doing because wow, words escape me. It gives me a better idea of what the image is going to look like rather than doing a color swatch. To me, it just doesn't make as much sense. So here I am using the Magic Color Picker tool, not color picker, the magic wand, and I am just selecting the area that I want to color. I am making a brand new layer, so now that I'm starting to put everything in, all the colors have their own layers. I actually do layers determined by colors and not objects. So like the green and the gray and the black, they will all be on their own layer. So I'm just going through with the magic wand because she's a witch. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a bad one. So I'm just going through with the magic I'm sorry, the magic wand. Now that I've thought about it, I can't go back. But I'm picking at the image so that I can slowly color it in. And this just makes it easier to get the base layer down, make sure I have all the colors. It isn't perfect. It doesn't look really nice. It misses a lot when it comes to the line art because naturally it goes around the line art. So I just go back in really quickly and I trace over the areas that were missed. And trust me, it is a lot faster than just coloring it in. If I could pick a little bit closer to the line art, that would be fantastic. But technology is not perfect. I think that's my takeaway. Technology is not perfect. It still works really well. So you can see here that I'm going back and forth between that test color layer, and I'm creating all these layers on the side while I'm coloring it in, coloring the items in. Wow, I really hope I get better at these voiceovers. And and then I'm just doing the same thing here with her skin. It looks really yellow here, but on my screen when I was doing it, it wasn't that yellow. Maybe it's just color variation between screens because I actually draw on an XP Pen tablet and I'm editing on a different computer screen. So maybe that's why it looks a little bit different. Also, if you would like me to do a review on my X Pen tablet and compare it to my Wakems, I will be more than happy to. Just give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below letting me know that that is something that you are interested in. So here I am coloring in the black. A really cool tip when it comes to drawing artwork is not to use black. As you can see on my color palette on the side, I'm using more of a dark gray where it looks like a faded black, and I do this because you can go in and fill in the shadows with a super dark black and it makes it more dynamic. I know I used that word before. I was trying to think of a different word, but it gives it more depth because just black can be very flat, and if you try to put any highlights on top of it, it just ends up looking like leather. So if it's a matte fabric, I would do a dark gray and then fill it in with the shadings on the dark black because it just gives a better look to it. At least I think so. Personal opinion. Every artist is different, but I find that just deep black, it can be a little bit flat unless it's like a shiny black. Wow. I don't know if that made any sense, but I hope I got the message across. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say because I've forgotten what I was talking about. But anyways, we are coloring in the apples here, as you can see where it missed on this line art. So I just color it in closer. And this also helps me check my line art to make sure I have it all filled in correctly and I didn't miss anything. So it's kind of a 2-in-1. It works really well, at least for me. Anyways, again, every artist has a different flow, but this is what I like to use. And this is a long process. It does take a little bit of time, but it's faster than coloring it in. Like it really is. And this actually is where I miss Procreate because you can just fill it in. Photoshop doesn't really have the same functions. And it's been a while since I used Photoshop actually. But before I get distracted again, I'm just cleaning up this line art and the colors. Oh my gosh, the words. The colors to make it look pretty. As you can see, I did miss some areas because every magic wand is not perfect. Or maybe it's the user. It's probably user error. But I'm just going back in. This fills it in. And also, since I use like a marker brush, it darkens the line art. As you can see, it was a lighter blue. And then as I'm filling in that color, it darkens the opacity and makes it more of a deeper blue. And again, I do not use black for my line art because I just feel like black is a really flat color. And so I like to use other colors. This one I used a dark blue in particular. Sometimes I will use a burgundy red for line art if it's like a portrait picture, or even sometimes a pink if someone has more of a pink complexion. It just kind of depends on what it is that I'm creating. I will use black line art sometimes if I feel the image calls for it, or if I'm only doing line art on one thing in particular. Like if I did line art on a person, I would do that in black if the rest of the image did not have line art. And this is just because I want my images to pop out a little bit more. I don't want them to be a lot of the same color, especially since she has the dark jeans, the black cauldron, and the dark top. I didn't want the line art to get lost in all of the black that she's already wearing. And the dark blue just helps separate that so you can see what's going on. Long story short. But again, same process. I'm just coloring it in. Kind of takes a while. Sometimes I'll go in and fix some stuff. And if you can see on the right hand side, I finally named all my layers. I have a really bad habit of not naming them, and then I get like 20 to 30 layers in. Just kidding, I don't use that much, but I get like 10 or 15 layers in and I have a hard time finding things, and that is when I will finally start labeling them. And I know I need to be better about that, but we're humans. Improvement is always necessary, right? I get a little bit better as it. I definitely do not name my layers on Procreate though, because I only use like 5 or 6. So I guess it just depends on how many layers I have. This one definitely had a lot, so I had to start naming them. But anyways, I'm getting distracted a lot. I'm just super excited about this design, and I have so much to say since I missed last week's video. I feel like I have to catch up. And yeah, so here after I have finished cleaning up the line art, I lay down these base colors because I actually use clipping masks. And I love them because even though this first step of the process takes a little bit longer, the clipping mask makes the shading and details go by so quickly and so fast. And so I will spend about an hour cleaning up the base layers, and then it only takes me 10 or 15 minutes to make the picture look complete. And so that's definitely where I make up the time, and it makes it a lot easier to add in details. And you'll definitely see that when I get to her shirt, because if I didn't have a clipping mask on it, the texture that I used definitely would have been a humongous mess. Like, it either I would have had to do the magic wand again and tried really hard to fill in the missing pieces like I did with the base colors, or I would just have to go in and make it super messy and erase it, and no one wants to do that. That takes a lot of time, especially if you have deadlines. You definitely don't want to make any unnecessary steps or do anything that takes time that isn't necessary to use, I guess. But yeah, it looks like I'm still working on the line art. Not the line art, the base colors. Man, this really does take me a long time. And you can see here at the bottom, my tablet will actually tell me if I'm on pen mode or eraser mode. And that's because it has little buttons on the side. And so I just quickly flip back and forth between the pen and the eraser. And again, if you want a review on my X Pen tablet, I absolutely love it. And I am very familiar with Wacom, so I can definitely do a comparison to let you guys know if it is a good option if you can't afford Wacom, because honestly they are super expensive. So as I was sitting here bashing black, I am using black on the cauldron. That is because I don't hate black, I just don't want it to look really flat. And the reason I'm using just the pitch black on the cauldron is because the cauldrons are actually made out of cast iron, which has a little bit of a matte sheen to it, which sounds like an oxymoron, I know, but if you ever stared at a cast iron pot for a awkwardly long amount of time like I have, you will see that there is a little bit of a sheen. And that's what I was trying to explain before. You can use the black if it's something that is going to be shiny, and then you just skip the shadows altogether and it's just highlights on top of that. But if you have something like fabric that would show shadows and highlights, then that's when you would want to use the darker gray. Yeah, I think I did a lot better that time explaining that. Yep. Okay, cool. So you can see here on the right hand side, I am starting to use clipping masks. I definitely do not label my clipping layers, because you can see the little arrow on what it belongs to, and to me that's enough information. But you can see it makes it really easy to put in the shadows that I want to. I just use the airbrush tool, and I'll airbrush in generally where I want it to be, and then I will take the smudge and smooth that out, make it a little bit better, in my terms of better. And then I do the same thing with highlights. I'll just airbrush it in and then smudge it out to make it look a little more natural. And you can see here I'm adding in those highlights on the cauldron. That is, again, what I was trying really hard to explain. And then I'm just putting in all the shadows. I always do shadows and highlights first, and then I will go in and do textures. And this is something that you definitely see with her shirt, because I kind of wanted to give her a sequin kind of style shirt. And so I will put in all of the shading and the highlight, and then I layer those sequins on top with a texture. And skin here is kind of a struggle for me because sometimes they look very washed out and a little undead because, well, that's how I prefer my people. Undead. Hail to spooky season. No. So, I've been trying to add in a little bit pink to her cheeks here, but I just couldn't get it to work until I started smudging it out, and then I kind of just left it the way that it is. But it's okay. It looks fine. It's fine. It's fine. She says as her whole world is collapsing. Okay. Anyways, talk about getting distracted today. Today is a day of distractions, and I haven't even had my coffee yet. I promise other videos won't be this long or this chaotic. I just had a lot to say today. One, because I am super excited about this design. Again, this is going on a t-shirt that is currently listed on my Etsy shop. I linked that down below. It's in my link tree. So if you just click on the link tree and then scroll down to where it says Etsy, that will take you straight to my shop. It does have more design to it on the t-shirts. I added in the lettering for Poison Apple Jeans, Bones, and the Fur, and I added some stars. And it's really an awesome design. I absolutely love it. I will definitely be ordering it myself because that's just a fun thing to do. To see it digitally on your computer and then get it in real life, it's a great feeling. I absolutely love it, and that's why I love designing t-shirts and creating fun little characters like this. So I'm just going back and forth here, and this is when I start doing the sequins. As you can see, I put it all over her shirt. I decide that that's not quite what I'm going for, and so I put the shadows and everything on top of it to blend it out. As you can tell with textures, sometimes shadows make textures disappear, so it is okay to blend them out. And then another thing that I struggle with is light source, so I had to make sure that there was a shadow cast by her hat and her hair and etc. But we are coming close to the end of this video. Again, I apologize that it was so long. I just really wanted to update you guys, and I am super excited for the new direction that my channel is going to be taking. Again, if you want some right away updates or right as I find them updates on Halloween decor, that will be over on my Instagram channel. And the same thing, my Instagram. And it's the same thing with my t-shirts. Anytime I release a new product, that goes up on my Instagram as well. And then I also have a TikTok where I talk more about my Oracle decks, and it has some drawings of the goddesses, so you can take a look at those as well. And back to this picture, because we are jumping back and forth. That is the theme of today. I used yellow because sequins often reflect the light around them. And since she's flying in the sky, it's, obvious to me that it would be the moon reflecting light back off of her shiny, awesome shirt. I don't know where I was going with that. But I don't really have anything else to say here. The last thing that I do is I fill in the bones and everything here before I get it ready to put it on the t-shirt. And yeah, so this was just a really fun design, all born out of me mishearing the lyrics of a famous song, because I honestly thought it was Bones and Fur this whole time. And I hope you guys enjoyed sitting here chatting with me. I may move my schedule again to Sundays. Just give me a little bit more time because my weeks are super hectic and super busy. And if I move to the weekends, I am sure I will be more steady with uploading. And since I am super excited about all the new stuff that is going to be coming to my channel, that will help as well. So I will see you guys again next week. And thank you so much for joining me. I will be doing a more spooky artwork like this one and some Halloween hauls as well. Again, I just hope you guys enjoy. And I think at this point, I am just trying to fill up space. But here she is, the goddess of the Poison Apple Jeans. And you have a great week. Bye.